You know, sometimes a single number on a blood test can change everything. A number that many people ignore, neglect, or don't really understand. And yet, this number can predict your vitality, your energy, and even your future. I'm talking about creatinine. And if you're here today, it's because you might already know this word, or because this word scares you. But let me tell you something important. Creatinine isn't your enemy. It's a messenger, a signal, an alert that your kidneys send you, sometimes too late, sometimes just in time. According to the latest American data, more than 37 million people are living with chronic kidney disease, and 90% don't even know it. Not because it's rare, not because it's invisible, but because the symptoms simply resemble those of aging: fatigue, heavy legs, erratic appetite, unstable blood pressure. We tell ourselves, it's just old age, and we let our kidneys do what they can until the day they can't anymore. So today, we're going to do something simple but essential. Understand how to protect your kidneys through your diet, without panicking, without extreme diets, without cutting out everything you love, just by making the right choices. Choices that relieve stress instead of overloading the system. In a moment, I'm going to show you 3 nuts that many consider super healthy, but which, in people with high creatinine levels, can accelerate the damage. And above all, you're going to discover 3 other nuts, validated by science, that can calm inflammation, ease the workload on the kidneys, and help your body naturally stabilize creatinine. And as always, my advice is here to inform you, to open doors for you, but never to replace the advice of a professional who is monitoring your case. Before we get into the details, let me ask you a question. Do you really know which foods put a strain on your kidneys every day? Most people think that natural equals good for everyone. But for the kidneys, it's not that simple. Some foods, even very healthy ones, require a huge amount of filtration. And when your kidneys are working hard, every little detail counts. In what follows, I'm going to take you behind the scenes. We're going to deconstruct 3 common dietary mistakes. 3 nuts that many people eat every week without realizing they can increase creatinine levels, sometimes silently. We'll start with the first one in a moment, and you'll see, it might surprise you. You may have grown up with the idea that nuts are always good for your health. And that's true, but not for everyone, and certainly not for those with tired kidneys. Some types of nuts are so concentrated in minerals and protein that they can raise your creatinine levels almost without you realizing it. So let's get started. The first nut to limit: cashews. They're delicious, creamy, and easy to snack on. And that's precisely the problem. When your creatinine is high, you need to monitor 2 things: phosphorus and protein. And cashews are loaded with both. The numbers speak for themselves. 100 grams of cashews contains over 660 milligrams of phosphorus. For someone with impaired kidney function, that's enormous. Nephrologists often recommend staying below 800 to 1,000 milligrams per day. So you can see that a handful of cashews can already bring you dangerously close to that limit. Why is this a problem? Because when your kidneys don't filter as well, phosphorus accumulates in your blood. And when it exceeds certain thresholds, it starts to damage your blood vessels, harden your arteries, and further increase your creatinine levels. I've seen several patients convinced they were having the perfect snack by eating a small bowl of cashews every day. They had no idea that this seemingly innocent habit was putting a daily strain on their kidneys. Now, if you recognize yourself in this, don't panic. The goal isn't to be afraid of every single food, but to understand how to readjust your choices. And you'll see, what follows is just as important. The second nut to limit: almonds. They're everywhere, in cereals, energy bars, plant-based milks, and snacks. They have a great reputation. But again, not when your creatinine levels are rising. The major problem with almonds is their potassium content. A single small portion of 28 grams can contain nearly 200 milligrams. And if your kidneys don't filter this potassium properly, it doesn't just accumulate in the blood, it disrupts the heart's electrical signals. Unusual fatigue, tingling, sudden cramps. These are signs that many people downplay, but which are sometimes linked to excess potassium in the elderly or those with fragile kidney function. You may have noticed this too. When you love almonds, you don't stop at 3 or 4. You take a small handful, then another. And the mineral content quickly adds up. So if you eat them regularly, ask yourself, can my kidneys handle this load? It's a simple question, but one that can really make a difference. Third nut to avoid, chestnuts. They evoke memories of holidays, winter evenings, and walks in the cold. They're a sentimental food, but not very kind to your kidneys. Chestnuts aren't very fatty, that's true, but they're very rich in starch and especially in oxalates. And oxalates, when kidney function is already compromised, can contribute to the formation of kidney stones. Can you imagine what happens when you combine already strained kidneys, rising creatinine levels, and accumulating oxalates? It's the perfect recipe for making things worse. Many seniors eat them because they're soft and easy to digest. But what's gentle on the stomach isn't always gentle on the kidneys. So ask yourself, do you eat them regularly during the winter? And more importantly, did you know they could indirectly raise your creatinine levels? Now that we've covered the pitfalls, take a breath. Because the good news is that there are wonderfully renoprotective, gentle, anti-inflammatory nuts validated by studies. Next, we'll move on to the nuts that are kind to your kidneys, the ones that can actually help you stabilize your creatinine naturally. Now that you know the pitfalls, we can finally look at the foods that are working in your favor. And you'll see, some of these nuts are true silent doctors for your kidneys. We'll start right away with one of the most powerful. The first nut to incorporate, flax seeds. They're tiny, almost insignificant, but their impact is immense. Flax seeds are rich in plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, lignans, and especially soluble fiber. And this fiber has a fascinating effect. It captures some of the metabolic waste in your digestive system, thus reducing the load your kidneys have to filter. Une étude de 2020 sur des adultes atteints de maladies rénales légères a montré qu'une prise quotidienne de 30 grammes de graines de lin pendant 12 semaines a entraîné une baisse moyenne de 18% de créatinine. Can you believe it? For tired kidneys, that's huge. But be careful. Whole seeds are useless. Your body doesn't break them down. They come out whole. You have to grind them, keep them refrigerated, and consume 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. In yogurt, a smoothie, or your oatmeal. It's simple, effective, and very gentle on your system. And always the same rule. This is not a medical treatment. It's a natural support. If you are under medical care, your doctor remains your primary source of information. The second, kidney-friendly nut, macadamia nuts. They have a bad reputation because they are high in fat. But what few people know is that the majority of these fats are omega-7s, very beneficial anti-inflammatory fatty acids, especially for kidney tissue. Several studies have shown that these fats reduce inflammatory cytokines that damage the glomeruli, the essential filters in your kidneys. Less inflammation equals less damage, equals more stable creatinine levels. And unlike almonds or cashews, macadamia nuts are low in potassium and phosphorus, making them much safer for people with reduced kidney filtration. The ideal dose? 5 to 7 walnuts a day. No more, no less. And above all, unsalted, because salt is the #1 enemy of blood pressure, and therefore of the kidneys. They are mild, filling, and easy to digest, perfect for a small snack between meals. The third protective nut, walnuts, the classic ones, the brain-shaped ones, which ironically also protect your kidneys. Walnuts are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, polyphenols, and powerful antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress, a major mechanism in the degradation of kidney filtration. A very serious study showed that people who regularly consumed walnuts reduced their overall inflammation, the infamous CRP, by about 32% en seulement 12 semaines. And every reduction in inflammation helps your kidneys breathe a little easier. They are moderate in potassium, moderate in phosphorus, which makes them a much safer option than most nuts. The perfect serving, 4 to 5 nuts, or about 10 walnut kernels. preferably after a meal to avoid digestive discomfort. In a moment, I'll help you understand how to combine these 3 nuts daily without overloading, without mistakes, and with maximum benefits for your kidneys. You'll see, it's not just a list of foods, it's a strategy, a way to support your body, especially after 50, 60, or 70. Now that you know the 3 nuts to avoid and the 3 nuts to favor, the real question is, how do you incorporate them without making mistakes? Because a food, even a beneficial one, can become problematic if used incorrectly. So together, we'll establish a simple, gentle, and effective way to use these 3 nuts daily to support your kidneys, especially if your creatinine levels are unstable. Première. La règle essentielle. Petite, mais régulière. Lorsque les reins ralentissent, l'objectif n'est pas de charger votre corps de superaliments. L'objectif est la cohérence douce. Studies show that what brings the best results isn't quantity, it's repetition. A little each day, never too much at once. This is exactly what the kidneys tolerate best do. Comment consommer des graines de lin sans faire d'erreur? Les graines de lin sont puissantes, mais seulement lorsqu'elles sont broyées. Voici donc la routine la plus simple. Chaque semaine, broyez une petite quantité de graines, rangez-les dans un bocal en verre, à l'abri de la lumière. Chaque matin, prenez 1 à 2 cuillères à soupe et ajoutez-les à votre petit déjeuner. L'effet, moins de déchets métaboliques, moins d'inflammation et une digestion plus stable, ce qui soutient directement vos reins. And don't forget to drink a little more water than usual, because the fiber absorbs a lot of it. Troisième, macadamia nuts, the perfect snack when creatinine levels spike. You might know this feeling. Around 11 a.m. or 17 heures, vous avez besoin d'un petit quelque chose. Maintenant est le moment idéal pour 5 à 7 noix de macadamia. Elles vous donnent de l'énergie sans provoquer un pic de potassium ou de phosphore. They curb hunger. They reduce silent inflammation. And above all, they prevent you from reaching for almonds or cashews out of habit. An important tip, avoid them late at night, as their high-calorie content can hinder digestion and disrupt sleep. A precious time for kidney repère. 4e. Noix, votre soutien anti-inflammatoire quotidien. Les noix classiques sont idéales après un repas, notamment le déjeuner. Pourquoi pas avant? Parce que sur un estomac vide, leur contenu calorique élevé peut provoquer un léger inconfort digestif ou une lourdeur, especially after age 60. La partie droite, 4 à 5 noix entières, ou 8 à 10 demi-coques. Vous pouvez aussi soak them overnight to make them easier to digest. Lightly toast them to reduce bitterness. Mix them into plain yogurt or porridge. They provide anti-inflammatory support that day after day protects your kidneys from wear and tear. 5. Une combinaison simple que j'appelle le trio protecteur. Beaucoup de mes patients m'ont dit qu'ils oublient facilement ce qu'ils doivent manger, quand et comment. Alors je leur ai donné une méthode simple. Matin, de 1 à 2 cuillères à soupe de graines de lin moulues. Après-midi, 5 à 7 noix de macadamia. Après les repas, 4 à 5 noix de cajou. 3 fois 3 aliments. Soutien continu. Vous n'avez pas besoin de plus. Et si vous êtes en cours de traitement médical, ce trio ne le remplace jamais. Il le complète. It gives you that extra that food can offer. In what follows, I'm going to show you common mistakes. The ones I see all the time in people who are trying their best. These are subtle traps, but sometimes responsible for creatinine levels that keep rising despite all your efforts. You can have the best intentions in the world, follow the recommendations, avoid bad nuts, favor good ones, and yet you still see your creatinine levels climbing. What I observe most often are invisible errors, details that no one really explains, and that take a heavy toll on your kidneys. Today, we'll correct them together. Erreur numéro 1. Croire que naturel y traquent sûr, c'est le piège le plus répandu. On pense que si un aliment est naturel à base de plantes ou considéré comme sain, il ne peut pas être nocif. But the kidneys don't analyze food in terms of lifestyle or marketing. They analyze its potassium content, its phosphorus content, its protein content, its oxalate content, and its overall metabolic load. Cashews, almonds, chestnuts. These are excellent foods for some people, and much less so for others. It's never a moral issue. It's a physiological issue. Mistake numéro 2. Manger des noix saines, mais en quantité excessive. The problem isn't the bite, it's the handful. The kidneys function like a filter, and when the filter is weakened, every excess, even of a beneficial food, exhausts it further. Many people double or triple the recommended portions, thinking they'll speed up the results. But the kidneys. Nuts need gentleness, not overload. With nuts, it's always quality, quantity. Mistake number 3, forgetting hydration. It may seem obvious, but it's essential. Fiber, like that in flax seeds, needs water. So do your kidneys. And when you don't drink enough, metabolic waste becomes more concentrated, which mechanically raises creatinine levels. Si votre médecin n'a pas prescrit une restriction de fluide, visez une hydratation régulière tout au long de la journée. Pas en grandes gorgées, mais en petites gorgées fréquentes. Mistake numéro 4. Combiner des noix mauvaises le même jour amandes dans le muesli, noix de cajou dans un encas, marron à dîner. Le problème n'est pas un de ces noix-là, it's the combination. Potassium plus phosphorus plus oxalate equal overload. Often, people whose creatinine levels rise despite their efforts consume several borderline foods without realizing it. Mistake number 5. Relying solely on your feelings. This is a dangerous mistake. The kidneys don't give warning signs. They don't send pain, burning sensations, or any specific alerts before the advanced stages. It's not like the heart or lungs you can feel fine. Hear that everything is fine, and at the same time, accumulate potassium, accumulate phosphorus, lose a little filtration each month. That's why you should never base your choices solely on how you feel, but also on what the numbers say. In the following sections, we'll delve even deeper. I'm going to help you take action. A clear, motivating message to support you through this change, and invite you to support others who may be experiencing the same thing as you, without even realizing it. You know, les reins sont des organes discrets. They work silently, without seeking recognition, without complaining, without making a sound. That's why when your creatinine levels start to rise, you absolutely mustn't ignore the message. It's your body telling you, help me, protect me, lighten my load. Today, you saw how certain foods, even those considered very healthy, can increase this burden without you even realizing it. You discovered why cashews, almonds, and chestnuts can become problematic when your filtration system is compromised. And now you know that there are gentle, nourishing, and protective alternatives: flax seeds, macadamia nuts, and regular walnuts. They're not miracles. They're not treatments. They're a way to support your kidneys, a daily gesture to lighten their workload, reduce inflammation, and help your body regain some balance. And that's already huge, especially if you're over 50, 60 ou 70. Vos reins ont travaillé toute votre vie. Ils méritent ce petit coup de pouce. One good habit a day, and the results add up. Now, I'd like you to take a moment for yourself. Imagine what your next few months could be like if you adopted just 2 or 3 of these changes: less fatigue, less tension, better digestion, and above all, kidneys that breathe a little easier. And if this video helped you, then it can help someone else. Maybe a friend, a relative, a neighbor who still thinks that kidneys don't get damaged. So share it. Leave a comment to tell me which nuts you're currently eating or which ones you're going to replace starting today. And above all, subscribe so you don't miss the next health videos designed for people over 50 qui veulent rester forts, actifs, et en bonne santé. And if you want to go further, you can download the short guide I prepared on kidney protective eating habits from the Next Age Health website. It's simple, clear, and can really help you in your daily life. As always, this is purely informational. Your doctor remains your primary source of advice. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself, take care of your kidneys, and we'll see you very soon for a new video.